Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 19 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm releasing a new Christmas craft every day for 20 days. We're almost at the end of the countdown now, so I thought we'd better fit in one more vinyl project. And it is a Christmas Eve plate. So these are growing in popularity as a way to leave out a little drink for Santa, some carrots for reindeer, and of course a treat for Santa as well. So I've got two different versions of this SVG available at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021. The first version has a mince pie for Santa, which is more of a UK version. And then I've also got a version for if mince pies are not something you would normally leave out for Santa. And for those ones, it says a tasty cookie instead. So whatever you choose to leave out for Santa and his reindeer, I know they'll appreciate it with this wonderful vinyl plate. First, you need to download the cutting file to make this project. If you aren't already signed up to the Christmas Craft Countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021 to join. If you have already purchased the countdown, go to craftwithsarah.com/login to log in to your account and access all of the Christmas Craft Countdown files. Once logged in, click into the Christmas Craft Countdown. Scroll down the page and all the files will become available on the date specified. The files do not expire, so you can download them at any time. The cutting files to make this project are included under the Day 19 heading. After downloading the cutting files, you'll need to unzip the folder that they come in. If you aren't sure how to do that, check the link in the description of this video, which contains instructions on how to unzip folders on Windows computers, Macs, and Android and iPhone devices. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and make a new project, and then go into Upload over on the left, and then press Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the file on your computer, or you can drag and drop it in. There are several different file formats included in the folder, and you want to make sure you upload the ones which start SVG in the file name. If you try and do any of the other ones, they won't work properly, so make sure you choose that one which starts SVG. There are two separate SVG files and they both have slightly different wording on them. The first one says that there are mince pies for Santa, and the second one says that there are cookies for Santa. So whichever one you're going to be leaving out, then you can choose which SVG to use. I'm in the UK and we tend to leave out mince pies for Santa, so that's the one I'm going to use. So I'm going to drag in that file. And then this is what it should look like with all of those colours appearing one on top of the other. If yours looks like this, that's great. Go ahead and click Upload. And then that will appear in the recent upload. So you can click on it and then press Add to Canvas. This already comes in the different colours, but what we need to do is to resize it so that it will fit on the plate we're going to be cutting it on. Here's the plate that I'm going to be putting my vinyl on, and I'm going to be using adhesive vinyl. Now this is a charger plate, which means it's designed to go underneath the plate just to make your table look pretty. And if we look on the back, it does actually say this is for decorative use only and it is not food safe. However, as this project is going to be just used one night a year for Santa, and thinking about it, the drink's going to be in a bottle. The mince pie, they always come in those little metal dishes, so it's not going to be touching the charger or the vinyl. It'll only be the carrot that is touching the plate and the vinyl, and I think Rudolph will forgive us for this. So personally, I'm taking the risk that I can use a non-food safe plate, and also the adhesive vinyl is not food safe either, but personally, I'm taking the risk with it. So it's completely up to you if you decide to do that or not. Other things that you could put your vinyl onto are perhaps a wood slice or just a normal everyday dinner plate. You can get really nice just plain white plates quite easily in different stores. This particular charger plate, this was from The Range, which is a UK store, And actually it was really well priced. It was under £2, and as you can see, it is huge. So yeah, I was really happy when I spotted this. We need to measure it to find out how big to make the SVG design in Cricut Design Space. Now I'm not sure if it's really picking up on the camera, but this does have a slight curve to the edges on it. So I don't want to put my design too close to the edge, otherwise I'll have to stick it along this curve. And I think that would be quite difficult to get it all lining up right. So what I'm going to do is just take my ruler and just sort of have a little guess, really. So the edge of the curve comes down to about here and then here. I don't mind it going up a tiny bit onto the bottom of that curve. So I think 9 inches, which is that much there, is going to be a good size to turn my little charger plate into the Christmas Eve plate. So after measuring, I know that I want my design to be 9 inches on the longest side. So take a little look at the width and the height and see which one is the longest side, and that is going to be the width for this one. It is pretty circular, but the width is just that tiny bit bigger. Make sure the padlock icon in the middle of the width and height boxes is closed. If it's open, then just click it to close it. And then go into the width, type in the number you want to make it, and then press enter on the keyboard. And that's now resized this for me, so it's 9 inches wide and then it's slightly smaller in height. This is now ready to cut, so I can click make it over on the top right. And then it will keep all of the different colours in the correct positions, which will make it much easier to transfer, with the exception of the snowflakes. Because they're only little stickers, I didn't want to waste a load of vinyl by keeping them in position. But don't worry, these are actually the easiest bit of it all to put onto your plate. We're using adhesive vinyl for this, either permanent or removable, so you do not need to mirror the design. So go ahead and cut it out from your favourite vinyl, and then we'll see how to add it to the plate. Here are my 3 colours of vinyl all cut out and weeded. Now, I know some of you are probably going to ask what brand of vinyl I'm using, and I am not going to tell you because it's not very good vinyl. So I don't want to recommend a product that I don't think is that great. So this green and red came in a big multi-pack of cheap vinyl that I got on the internet. And it's not one of the named brands. It was just completely off-brand box of lots of different colours. And I got this when I'd never tried vinyl before to sort of test and play about with without having anything too expensive. And actually, I think that's the reason I hate vinyl products so much, because this vinyl is just horrendous. It doesn't cut right half the time. It doesn't weed very well. It took me ages to get all this weeded. Now, in contrast to that, these snowflakes are cut from silver permanent vinyl, which is Cricut brand. And oh my goodness, I was dreading weeding these because they're quite small and fiddly with little bits in the middle. And of course, all of the edges of the snowflakes. But by comparison, this was so much easier. I actually didn't mind weeding these snowflakes. So the Cricut brand permanent vinyl was way better than my little cheap vinyl. So I'm thinking I might need to try some more adhesive vinyl projects with some better quality vinyl and see if I like it any better. But anyway, that was my little rant about my terrible vinyl. And then I've also cut a nice big piece of transfer tape. So what we're going to do is layer up our adhesive vinyl on the transfer tape so it's all in the right place, all the different colours, and then put it all onto the charger plate in one go. I think I'll start with the red because that Dear Santa is kind of the middle of the design, so I can sort of base it off of that. So here's my transfer tape, and I'm going to get my weeding tool, which is not actually in here. So I might just try and use my fingers. If not, I'll have to disappear and get it. So I just want to start the top of that transfer tape. Normally I just stick a hole in it with my weeding tool, but my fingernail seemed to work fine. So we need to stick this to here, and I've already cut it to size, so it is the right size on here. And there's probably a much better way to do this, but as I said a not done that much vinyl, so I don't know all the tricks. So I'm just slowly peeling this off and sticking it down as I go. So just smoothing it. Don't want any bubbles. There we go. Okay. So now that actually worked pretty well. That was the best I've ever managed to put transfer tape on something. So now I'm going to turn it over and use my brayer to stick this down. There we go. And then peel this up and hopefully my vinyl will go on the transfer tape, which it is. Excellent stuff. All right, so now I've got my other bit and I'm going to use the parchment paper hack for this. At least I would if I had any parchment paper. But again, I've just realised that I don't have any. So I'm going to use this old bit instead and hope it's okay. So the reason we put something here is that if I accidentally misplace this, then I've not stuck everything down. So I'm going to get this. And the reason you use parchment paper is it's kind of see-through, so you know if you've lined it up right. This isn't going to work because I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm just going to have to guesstimate it, I think. And hope that it lines up, which it doesn't quite. My little present is in the wrong place. I think it's too far down. Oh no, and now it's stuck. See, I did not do that well. Okay, never mind. I will cope. What I will do is just cut that holly off so I can reposition it. So what I would have done normally is put parchment paper under here and then used that as a guide so that I wouldn't stick it in the wrong place like I just did. But never mind. I'll do a separate video at some point on how to line things up properly. I usually find when I'm doing these countdowns that there's one project which always turns into a little bit of a disaster. So for this Christmas craft countdown, I think it's this one. And we made it all the way to day 19 before the disaster project. So actually, that's pretty good. Okay. Right, there we go. And then the holly. Do you know what? I'll just stick that on afterwards. And the snowflakes as well, I'll stick on afterwards. So where's my plate? So this is a Teflon sheet, which you'd normally use for your heat press to protect the plates of your heat press. But because it's designed to not have stuff stick to it, I'm going to see if this works. Okay, so I want to line this up so it's in the middle, which is probably about there. I maybe could have done with cutting it a bit bigger actually on reflection. But, alright, so I'm going to stick that transfer tape down there. And then I think I'm happy with that positioning. So now I can just pull this out slowly and stick the vinyl down. Now, depending on what kind of plate you're using, you might want to be really careful with this because if you're using something that has just a thin coating of colour on it, for example, a charger plate that's been sprayed metallic or something like that, then your transfer tape might take the colour off of your plate. I think I'll probably be safe with this one because it's sort of printed, but just be aware that could happen. So if you're buying a charger plate, I'd maybe get 2, just so you've got a practice one if you need it. Alright, so I don't want to stick that transfer tape down too much everywhere, but I might have to just do it a little bit more. My scraper tool, go over all that vinyl. Whoop. You can see my little stocking just bubbled up a bit. I am loving how this is looking. I don't think it'll be the disaster that I predicted mere moments ago. And I don't think Santa will mind if it's a little bit skew with. What do you reckon? Okay, so now is the point where my terrible vinyl doesn't come off the transfer tape. Maybe that'll help. Right. There. Oh, nearly. Nearly. Could use my nail as well. Okay. So this is almost coming off now. Luckily, the transfer tape doesn't appear to be damaging the plate. It's just I can't get the blooming vinyl off. Alright, so what I'm going to do, because I have visions of this taking forever, is I'm going to pause the video and then get this transfer tape off, and then I'll come back to show you how to add on the snowflakes and the holly that we left off the bottom. Alright, so over half an hour later, and here is my charger plate. So I haven't done an amazing job. Some of the vinyl's got some bubbles in it, but you know what? I think Santa is going to be very grateful for it. And now I can just add on the last little pieces, which I'm absolutely not going to use transfer tape for. So I'm just going to stick them on like a sticker. Some holly down the bottom, which I've put in the wrong place. There we go. And then my 3 snowflakes. And it's been so long now since I cut these out because of the transfer tape drama that I can't exactly remember where these are supposed to go. So I'm just going to guess and place them in some of the gaps. So these ones I'm just peeling off without any transfer tape. Just trying to be careful not to damage them. There we go, almost there. Right. I think this one went in here. There's not quite enough room because I didn't line everything up amazingly well. That still looks good. And then one more. Okay, last snowflake. Oh gosh, I'm stuck to my transfer tape. Let's put that one in there. There. Okay, so much later than initially planned. Here is my Christmas Eve plate for Santa, all ready for me to add a yummy mince pie, a drink, of which I think I might actually be having some of Santa's drink right now, and of course a snack for Rudolph. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make a Christmas Eve plate for Santa and his reindeer to enjoy a little treat as they visit your house on Christmas Eve. To get the files, head to craftwithsarah.com/Christmas 2021. I'll be back again tomorrow with the last project of the Christmas Craft Countdown. But until then, happy crafting and thank you for watching. Bye!